What's up, everyone, and welcome to the special March Madness bracket episode of R&R Studios podcast. At a time when you can choose from hundreds of different podcasts to help you build your bracket, I'm glad you're choosing this one because who I have with me tonight, um, the guru of NCAA college basketball, Captain Know It All, Kevin James Hall. What's up, buddy?
How's it going, brother?
Dude,
It's
it's
good to
going. I'm so glad you could join us. Thanks for doing this. And I know you're coming off a flight. You're coming in from Arizona. You're doing some scouting out there.
yeah,
I
I
heard.
try to do a little recruiting for Long Beach State, trying to get those
Yeah.
players in that mid-major conference so we can do some damage
Okay.
postseason.
Has Long Beach State ever made it into the show?
Yeah, they have.
They have.
As a mid-major, though, they don't since they don't get the recognition, they actually have to win their conference, which is the Big West Conference. Um, and they haven't done that probably in the last. Well, they did it actually 2 years ago. They didn't do it this year, but they did it 2 years ago. They were firing their coach, and they announced the firing right before the conference playoffs, and that kind of like inspired the players. So they actually went on and they weren't picked to win the championship, but they did just based on emotion, and they were a good team.
Nice.
And actually, one of the players that was on their team is in the current bracket now. He's on another school because he transferred, and he's pretty good as a off the bench player. And I'll let you tell you about him when we get to that game.
Okay. And yeah, that happens a lot lately in college sports, the transfer portal. So before we even get started into the bracket that I sat and wrote down as they released it a couple hours ago on CBS. I was telling you earlier, I broke out the freaking the goddamn dog is biting my feet. The card table, and as they were releasing it, I'm writing this shit. I drew out a whole skeleton bracket this morning, and so before we even get into all that, who who is your pick to win it all in this tourney?
Well, I know Duke's pretty good, even though I don't like to say that word at all. It's kind of like
Yeah.
blasphemy, but
I had it in the original intro that I wrote down that you are a hater of everything Duke. And
it is
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah,
It is
and
true.
and that you're from the state of chaos, California, or currently
Yeah.
in. Sorry, you're not from.
Yes.
Sorry, I
Correct.
didn't want to. Yeah, you're there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I told you before. I saw some of the conference playoff games, and they were really good, really competitive, and I saw a lot of good things from good teams. But I mean, are we giving our finals or championship now, or are we leading
No,
up to
no,
it?
I'm just asking you before we start breaking down the regions and me asking you who do you think is going to win between who. Just off the bat, if you want, I can give you the number one seeds.
Yep.
But who
Okay.
who
Well,
do
I,
you?
I got it pulled up for you since you told me about it. But
Okay.
yeah, but go ahead. Give me what you got.
Okay, so we've got the number one overall is Auburn coming out of the South region.
Yeah. Yeah. No
Going
surprise there.
across the way, your favorite team, that your favorite team to hate. Sorry, let me get that out completely.
Thank you.
Duke. Oh, they deserve that one. Down and to the left, we got Florida that I just watched beat a Tennessee team that I thought was going to do way better and did not show up. But we'll get there in a minute.
Yeah.
And then over to the right, we got Houston. So Florida, Houston, Duke, and Auburn are your number one seeds. Out of
Mhm.
those four, who do you think would just
Well,
is your pick?
I can say I see. I watched three of the four teams. I haven't watched Florida, but I have kind of paid attention to their stats and their wins, and from what I understand, is of the four ones, they're kind of a dark horse. Most people were expecting Auburn or Alabama from the SEC, and Florida kind of snuck in there, pulled off some wins and got pretty far in their conference playoffs. So I do kind of like them as an underdog, because anytime you got an underdog, you never know what's going to happen, how hungry they are. They can always play better than their actual abilities sometimes, so to speak. So
How fucking crazy is it that the SEC has 14 teams in this tourney this year?
it's
The
unbelievable. Well, yeah, that that
the
that is crazy. The SEC has always been a decent basketball team. It's usually like Alabama or Tennessee or you know, um,
Yeah, there's usually one or two in there. I remember
right.
the Vols usually being in the fight. That's how they got their name, other than Peyton Manning playing football for them. The Vols were a basketball school,
Yeah,
at least for me, growing up in the 90s, it was.
yeah. And I mean, I think some of the football aspect, of them, that high quality standard of winning, and you got to win a championship, you got to win, you got to play hard, play tough. I think that kind of is indicative of the conference itself, the SEC. When you think of it, you think of tough, hard nosed, grinding out wins and stuff like that. And I just don't know. I think that typically it's the ACC that's been the conference of hierarchy, but we've lost. And I just say we because I follow the ACC more than any other conferences.
Because you are a UNC fan. I don't think we've
I am a
established
Tar
that.
Heel for sure.
You are you are
Not born, but bred. But
you are
yeah,
Captain Heel, yeah. Yeah.
that's our Captain Heel. Yeah, that's me. But like the ACC lost so many, um, MVP, coaches, coaches that are like Hall of Famers, won national championships. We lost I mean, it was like six or seven over the last 5 or 6 years. We lost Coach K, Coach Roy Williams from North Carolina, and then Larinaga from Miami. He was a good coach. The coach up in Syracuse, Coach Boeheim. He was there for like 40 years, and he started with the Big East. But when the Syracuse moved to the ACC, he still maintained that high level of basketball. And all these guys were like part of our generation growing up. And now they're retired, and now they got all these young coaches that are kind of still finding themselves. That one coach in Durham, he's been under the Coach K tutelage, so he kind of knows the winning, you know, mantra.
But
And he's probably the only one that I've seen that really stands out in the ACC so far, even
but
against
also
our own coach, Coach Hubert Davis. So, but
we're
yeah,
also
the SEC is crazy, man. I mean, and I think part of it too has to do with the conference realignment. I mean, you got more schools and more
yeah,
conferences, so they're going to pull more teams.
yeah. And it kind of goes against I was gonna make an argument. I mean, and I guess I still can, that the reason why I enjoy the college hoops a little bit more than, I mean, not throughout the entire season, but I think college basketball is way more exciting during their playoffs and championships than college football. College football is exciting throughout the entire season, and then if your team doesn't make it, you just that's it. That you go to a fucking bowl game, hopefully, and then nobody fucking gives a shit. You start
Yeah,
losing hope throughout the end of the season, but like the way college basketball works, the way they have it set up is you have your dynasty teams like your fucking UCLA and teams that are always kind of there lingering, Duke, UNC, that rivalry.
right.
But pretty much it's it's anyone's game. and
Yeah.
especially lately, we know that we never had we. I mean, growing up in the '90s, we never saw a 16 seed beat a number one seed, and then
Yeah, it was
within the
it was
fast
one of the records that were they always announced too that a 16 seed has never
no,
beat a
you
1 seed.
stand no chance. It's a given. Everyone knew it. You always picked your number one seed over the 16 seed in your brackets. But now, KJ, we've seen two in the past 5 years go down, and there's been more than that
Yeah.
if you go further back, just a couple more years. So, I mean, it's crazy. These anything's possible, and I love that about March Madness. And the only reason I say that it hurts my argument is because we brought up that the SEC has the most teams in the tournament, and
Yeah.
that that's what people would complain about during the college football playoffs. The SEC is dominating whatever, blah blah blah. So, but yeah, did you know the next conference in line is the Big Ten with only eight? With eight, that's how big of a difference
Wow.
that's
Yeah,
going.
that
So
is quite a difference because usually it's it's like the top 2 or top 3 conferences probably have like 8 or 7 or maybe 6 or 7, respectively. So it's yeah,
yeah,
that's quite a disparity. So
big time. So you want to jump right into it, dude? Let's get into these brackets, dude.
sure.
I want this attempt. The reason for this podcast is to help me create the perfect bracket. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down and we're gonna talk about these teams and these games, and we're gonna choose the perfect bracket for me and anyone who else who mimics mine, which I guess is kind of counterproductive because if I do the perfect bracket and then put it out there, and then everyone like inputs it into like ESPN's or whatever, because
Yeah.
they like pay $1 million for the perfect bracket kind of shit.
Yeah.
So anyway, fuck it, I don't care. Let's do it because it would just be
But
fun.
at least they can you know pull
I'll
it
get the
back and
views.
say, hey,
Yeah.
it started with you.
Started
It was
this with
you.
this fat guy with this Walmart fedora
All right.
with the lights that glow.
It's
My wife
great.
bought it
It's
for it's
perfect.
fucking great. It's like looks like a halo. I'm a fucking
You're an
leprechaun.
angel,
I'm
Johnny.
an angel leprechaun. You sound like my mother. Say it again.
Oh,
All
well,
right.
go
Go ahead.
ahead.
What?
No, no, no. I was young. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm
All
ready
right.
to.
Starting in the South region with the
Okay.
number one overall team, Auburn, with a record of 28-5, going up against the 16 Bama State and or wait, because this is a win in or St. Fran. St. Fran.
Yeah,
So
this is one of those play-in games. So those teams got
yeah,
to play in to earn that 16 seed. So those guys will play, I think, a day or two earlier before, and then whoever wins. That's why it's like that. But I love that because one, it gives players from smaller schools like exposure. Because people are
yes,
going to watch. You see what happens.
definitely. Dude, I
Um,
remember I'd never heard like Steph Curry when he played for Davidson. He put
yeah,
Davidson
no one.
on the
Yeah,
map.
yeah.
And they haven't done I mean, they
Well,
were there was some trickle down after he left, but I don't think I've seen Davidson, like, maybe
no,
5
no,
years after he was gone. I've never seen them in the
no.
tourney again,
But
but
I like I think that's the beauty of it. Like, remember Sister Jean with
yeah,
Chicago, Illinois? Oh man, or Leola, yeah, whatever that team
Lo
was,
Loyola
Chicago.
Loyola Chicago.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
and
she was
dude,
like, I mean, people were watching the games just to see her,
that
in the stand.
exposure alone, I mean, we're talking about it right now, is
Yeah,
worth everything. I mean,
yeah,
dude, they'd be so sick to get a Davidson jersey. I remember the red and white, and it just said
yeah,
Davidson. Yeah, it was fucking cool, dude.
yeah.
Get a fucking Steph Curry Davidson jersey. Anyway, sorry, kind of getting off, man. So yeah, the play in. Uh,
I just I just think Auburn is way too tough, regardless of who wins that play-in game.
Yeah.
That Janai Broom, that download, they've been talking about him as Player of the Year, and I mean, he's just multifaceted. I mean, he can do just about everything, and the team, even when I watched some of his games where he didn't play as well, his teammates stepped up. So all of them can ball. So I think Auburn's going to easily take that.
Okay. Dropping down to these are my favorite like part of the brackets. The 8 and 9 um slotted teams,
Yeah,
seeded
because
teams.
they're
Oh, they are
yeah,
always so close. And this one we got a good one. We got coming in number 8, we got Louisville. That's how they say it. You
that's
gotta say it
right.
like that. You gotta say Louisville. Yeah, I know. I know. I can't talk about it right now, but I know.
Yeah.
The record of 27-7, and then right behind them, number 9, Creighton, a record of 24-10. And can I
Um,
just go ahead and say right now, I have no idea where Creighton is. Is that like New Hampshire,
I believe
Connecticut?
it's in Nebraska. I believe it's in
Is it?
Nebraska. I know it's in the Midwest, but they've actually had a couple good runs as
Yeah,
like a Cinderella.
I think Tall White Boy when I
Not in a
think Creighton.
row, but um,
They're always
yeah,
around.
yeah, because they seem to. I mean, what else are you going to do in Nebraska but shoot basketball? During the winter,
Yeah, they're like
or shuck
Gonzaga
corn,
light.
or shuck
Yeah,
corn.
yeah, and nobody cared.
Right. So
Oh, that's
good one,
cracked corn. That's
good
cracked.
one, good one. Uh, but yeah, Creighton is one of those teams. You know, it kind of like they have, some shooters that some people just underestimate them, and
Yeah,
sometimes they got quality ballers. I don't think they have it this year. I think Louisville is irate about losing the ACC championship. And as I mentioned earlier, there was a guy that was at Long Beach State and transferred out when the portal
yeah.
was open, and his name is Abubakar
Dunk,
Traore. But
dunk.
um,
Abubakar Traore dunks a lot.
yeah, he's number 25 on Louisville, and he's like a bench player. But man, he's just a solid bench player. Like, he can get like 8, 9 rebounds, 8, 9, 10 points. Almost a
Yeah,
double double. But and he doesn't get a lot
he's
of play
gonna.
time. But he steps in well with the starters. So
Yeah.
I believe Louisville will continue on.
Okay. So we'll take Louisville. Oh my god, you made me say it wrong after I fucking went through that whole spiel about saying
All
it right.
right.
Louisville. You gotta say it with well, you gotta say it like you have a
Yeah.
swollen tongue. You gotta say it Louisville. That's how it's supposed to work. Oh, and dropping down from them is my least favorite football school. Number 5, Michigan at 25 and
Mm.
9, playing a 12 seed. Now, these have been potential bracket killers. The
Yeah,
12 seed
5-12.
teams, yeah,
5-12. Yeah,
5-12.
definitely.
But I mean, it's a UC San Diego team with a 30-4 record, which is respectable. But then again, it is UC San Diego, and this is Michigan. Michigan,
Yeah.
the
So
belong into the
yeah,
conference with the second most wins.
UC San Diego is actually part of the Big West. So they're their team in our conference, Long Beach States, that actually won the Big West championship. So they got the automatic bid. So that's why they got the 12th seed. And
Okay.
they did play they played some good games, and they
I
had a
mean,
pretty
a 30-4 record is nothing to shake your head at. I mean,
yeah,
in any aspect. I mean, you're going to the dance with 30 wins. I mean,
yeah.
that's respectable, right? But I don't know. That's a tough Michigan team. That's a Big
I
Ten
know.
conference that is
The
been
the
playing
only
well.
thing is, like the last 10 games, Michigan went 6-4. So they were, kind of split the last games. But UC San Diego, the Tritons, that's their nickname, the Tritons. That's why you see a little Triton.
Hell yeah, like Little Mermaid
Um,
and shit.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They went 10-0. So they won their last 10
They're
games
on a
and
10
didn't
and
lose.
0 run.
Yeah.
Okay.
So um gosh, that's a tough one, man, because you know that 5-12 is it's a flip of a
KJ.
coin essentially.
KJ. Then
Um
flip a fucking coin. Let's do it. You got a
okay.
coin on you?
Well, I know Michigan averaged more rebounds and mm,
I mean, we got more. We can
I would say
we can put
Michigan.
a
I would say just Michigan because they have the tournament experience. Just because
okay.
experience. Because
They've been there before,
yeah,
attitude kind of thing.
yeah. You
Where
see,
is the South region playing at? I'm not even sure where. I didn't write that down. I should
yeah.
have.
Um,
Because that could play in the big. I mean, because you got Midwest Michigan and then San Diego. If they're playing in Nashville, of course. Excuse me, that was
I
right
think
in
it.
the mic.
I think it's going to be Atlanta, but I could be wrong. I'm
That's
not
not
sure.
far
I'm not
off.
sure if
I
they.
mean, that doesn't help UC San Diego at all.
No, no, but I mean, you gotta,
It might help them get
the
laid.
schools don't have a choice of where they get, bracketed, but
Yeah.
you just gotta play
Yeah.
to win.
No.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
Win.
Yeah. Because that's why you're there. So we're gonna go ahead and put Michigan down for. We're just going to say they squeak by. They squeak by. It's a tough game. Maybe it takes
Yeah,
into the
put an
second half.
asterisk by that one.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna draw a little butthole next to Michigan. I was gonna do that anyway.
Make sure you
Yeah.
send me a copy of your picks too, because I
I
want to
am.
follow them too.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
dude, this is the perfect bracket. We're building the perfect bracket here. We are breaking down these teams at a level that no one else is doing or like no one else is doing. I mean, they may be doing it better, but they're not doing it like us. Okay?
Yeah, but
Yeah, we're shooting from the hip here. And I don't know if
yeah,
you've ever watched a Rambo movie, but when he shoots from the hip, that motherfucker kills everyone.
that's right.
So,
Just
let's
walks
keep
into a
going.
room.
And fucks everyone up. He tears off
Exactly.
throats. Yeah. And he doesn't have a plan. He just thinks about shit. It's like, I'm just gonna walk in there and just kill everyone. Like, okay, do it, John. And they do.
Murdoch,
Yeah.
I'm coming for you.
And then he could have gotten out of there the entire time. That he was
I
taking.
know,
You
right?
understand that? You
Yeah,
understand that?
yeah.
He was he could
You,
have just broken out of
yeah.
it. He took that shit and then he was like, I want to wait until what the fuck? God damn it, John.
Uh,
Fucking Sly,
so
man. Such a
yeah.
great fucking actor. Okay, so drop it down. We have the number 4 and the number 13 seed. Texas A&M coming in at 22-10 with check this out, the Smart Kid Conference champion
Yeah.
Yale, who just won today at 22-7. How
See,
do you see this one
that's
going?
what's kind of scary too. Is not just the rankings. Is when you have like a high profile team like Texas A&M from the SEC, which is like you mentioned before, that has most teams in the bracket,
They
but
got more to lose. They have cannon fodder. They have cannon
well,
fodder. That's like infantry. Just send them in. Who cares if fuck?
yeah, and Texas A&M or yeah, Texas A&M didn't do well in the championship. They didn't win it, but Yale, yeah, they won it. So it's you try to figure out who has the momentum going forward
And
into the next round.
don't forget, Yale was one of those teams that knocked off a number one. I believe it was Purdue. Was it Yale that knocked off Purdue? I'm not even
Um,
sure if that's right or not.
I
I'm
know some
probably
Ivies
wrong.
have won some
But
upsets.
Yale, no, Yale did have maybe it wasn't a number one seed, but Yale did have an upset last year
uh,
against a top seeded team. It was a higher ranked team, so they made it
yeah.
past the first round. So anyway, fuck you. It was shit. We'll call it. Yeah, whatever it is.
Well,
It
I
doesn't
think the
matter. So
SEC is still strong. I think the fact that Texas A&M played against the best conference in college basketball this year, that just will, that was just too much experience for them. So
we're
even
go
though Yale is smart and they'll
Tech
figure out
next.
all the theorems and computations on how to
Yeah.
win, they won't be able to do it. I think Texas
Yeah.
A&M will
They're
take that.
they're not gonna win at basketball, but they're probably gonna win at life because all the smart people are now running the world and
Yeah.
it's all weird and shit. It's crazy to think that like, like the majority of people that are running the world have come from like the same five fucking schools for the past.
Mhm.
We don't have
Yeah.
to get into that.
Yeah.
I've
That's a
been
different
dabbling. I've
podcast,
been
right?
dabbling in some conspiracy theories. Okay, shit. We're gonna keep going, otherwise we're never gonna get through this. Dropping down, we got Ole Miss, 22-11. Excuse me, sorry. The pollen is here, dude. You know about that.
Who?
It
Oh,
the
pollen.
pollen, yeah,
Oh,
the the
shoot.
the
Yeah.
East Coast pollen
Oh,
is
yeah.
here. I've been
That's
choking on it. So we got
yeah.
number 6, Ole Miss at 22-11, up against San Diego State and or UNC, your
Yeah.
Tar Heels. And we'll jump into it immediately. I don't know if you saw, but not a lot of people are happy about UNC getting that position.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Um, I mean, I think it's the same thing over and over. I mean, they've kind of earned that reputation. They're ACC, um, but that's why they kind of get the bias.
I
You
lost
know.
you on video, but I can still hear you on audio. Oh,
Oh,
okay, here you come.
okay. I'm
Wait, there
sorry.
you go. Nope, you're there. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Sorry.
So I think they get name recognition, Hubert Davis, that all that, and that kind of plays a part in the seeding. Teams that with reputations that have a history of winning typically get chosen over teams that may or may have not really deserved it. Personally, I thought they needed to win the ACC championship to actually advance. Just because I don't think it was fair for other schools that had better, opportunities and chances to win or even won their own conference. So, and they've been playing inconsistent all year. So, to me, I don't think that was a good choice by the committee. But of course, I'm not getting paid committee money. um, but I think whoever actually wins that game um, will beat Ole Miss. I think the 11 will upset
Okay.
the 6 because San Diego State
Okay.
too. If you don't, I mean, last year or the year before, they went all the way to the national championship game, and they were
Yeah.
they were pretty close to winning it. Um, so I think whoever wins that game, that play-in game, will beat Ole Miss because Ole Miss they're SEC, so they do have some quality competition, but I just don't think that they. I think I've watched all three of these teams actually play, throughout the year. So, and I just think San Diego State or UNC will show up and beat Ole Miss.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that's gonna be UNC. Um, so I'm gonna put them forward. But before we get off UNC, one of the things that people were upset about was that one of the directors of sports or something and UNC was part of this committee, this bracket committee.
Uh,
But they once this came out, once they did that region, they had that guy and some other dude that were in the committee let everyone know, like, homeboy, this old fucking white dude wasn't even in the room. He's like, I was not allowed to be in the room during this decision. And he handed it off to the other dude, and they told him straight up that It was because of the Memphis game. I forget who did Memphis just end up playing. I have it written down because Penny Hardaway is the fucking head coach
Yeah,
of
yeah,
fucking Memphis, man. I love it, man. Remember the old
yeah,
commercials? Little
yeah.
fucking Penny on the couch.
That's Tyra Banks,
Yeah,
fool.
yeah, yeah. I love that shit, man. He got his
Yeah,
own shoes. Those shoes were ugly as shit, but damn.
yeah,
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 and he straight up said because of the outcome of that game would have determined whether or not UNC got in because that how that game went, UNC got in.
yeah.
They explained it way better than I do, but that's because they
Yeah.
get paid
See, yeah,
and
I
I don't
kind of
get paid.
disagree because I think I like what Coach Penny has done with that squad. You know, he hasn't, he's hasn't really come in and just been a face. You know, he's actually trying to coach these kids, and they play been playing pretty well. And Memphis
Yeah,
is always one of those teams that seems to be a dangerous team. Like you don't want to play towards the end of the season.
yeah,
So, and it looks like they beat UAB, University of Alabama Birmingham, for their, I guess, maybe conference AAC. Now they're in the AAC conference.
yeah.
So yeah, they should be on a roll. Personally, I would say that if I was on the committee, I would have chose Memphis over UNC just because I don't know. I just think they have better quality opportunities to win, and that's what you're trying to put into the brackets is teams that you know have the ability to win it all, or at least go far into the tournament.
It's a slippery slope, though. I mean, like if you're
Yeah, I
judging
know.
teams
I
by
mean,
just by potential, I mean, we both served in the army. And then they were like, your promotion is based on your potential to be better.
yeah,
So that's why
yeah,
you have to work towards you just because you're an E5, that's fine. But if you want to make E6, you have to be acting like and take on
yeah.
the
Take
responsibility of
yeah,
an E6. You're like, so
that's
wait a second.
right.
I have to do the work before you start paying me
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do that fucking work. No, that's fucked up. But anyway, yeah, I don't know why I
yeah.
went there, but
No, I mean it's kind of the same thing.
yeah,
You're promoting people based on the potential instead of what they actually are. But again, I just think UNC, they just been too careless the last few games, too unsteady. Love them to death, but yeah,
so
I think another team could have been in that spot.
do you think San Diego State beats UNC out for that?
I don't
Okay.
because when you
Okay.
get beat by Duke, the next thing you want to do is play a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're
I
gonna
tried to
be.
watch that game. I'm sorry. I tried to watch that game and then turn it off. I tried my jinx, but I just was in a different place, so
I,
I
I
apologize.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you and your jinx because you have helped us through a lot of bad times,
You're
believe it or
welcome.
not.
You're welcome.
But yeah, um, I just think they're going to be like, okay, because they've gotten focused the last 6 games or so, and they, going into the ACC tournament, and so they were like 7-0 or something on a streak before they started playing in the ACC tournament. So I just think the team is kind of meshing together a little bit better. I think RJ Davis, one of our point guards, had a terrible game against Duke. I think, less than 10 points, and he averages, double figures that he'll recoup, regain, and then we got just a lot of young ballers. So I think UNC will beat SDSU on that, and they'll eventually beat Ole Miss in the
Ole
first
Miss.
round.
Fantastic. You heard it here first. Dropping down next, number 3, Iowa State, record 24-9 against this is the first time I've ever heard of this school. 14 seed Lipscomb
Oh
at a
yeah,
record of what 35? I don't know. I can't even read my own fucking writing. It doesn't matter. Uh
see,
Iowa State, like it doesn't matter what fucking sport it is. Iowa State's always a sleeper upset. They are not the team that gets upset. They are the team that gets beat. Okay. They are the team that gets beaten. They get beat a lot in a lot of sports. But as a number 3 seed, and I'm just throwing in my own fucking, you know, opinion here. I don't think this is an upset here at all. So, what do you
I
think?
would definitely concur on that,
Okay.
sir.
Do you concur?
Iowa State is one of those
I feel
solid
like
teams
we're in
that.
Catch Me If You Can. Do you
Oh,
concur?
yeah, I would definitely pick Iowa State on this one just because I mean Lipscomb. I don't even.
Steal it.
They're from the ASUN conference, which is a it's technically it's a mid-major conference, but it's not even. It's as far as mid-major goes, it's even below the mid-major. And as far as strengths of schedule, Iowa State had 56. Lipscomb had 258. So I think Iowa State has just played better competition. They're in the Big 12. They may have a tough test at the beginning of the game, but they'll work it out and they'll punish Lipscomb.
I don't know how you're nailing that fucking name every single time. Because I see you sipping on a 40 and you're nailing Lipscomb. I don't know about I think I slurred it.
I like the lips. Okay.
Lipscomb. Lipscomb is how it fucking spells
Yeah.
out. So they lose to Iowa State. Ooh, here we go. A 7-10 matchup. My next favorite, other than the 5-12, we got Marquette at New Mexico. Marquette coming in 23-10, and New Mexico 26-7. What do you think
Yeah.
here? Ooh, this is going to be a tough one. I think
Marquette seems like a perennial tough team. But I've seen New Mexico play, and they're not they're out of the Mountain West, so it's not a real Power Four conference or anything like that. But I just think that they have the players and the pieces in place to win that game.
okay. So we got Marquette over New Mexico, the Lobos. Aren't they the Lobos?
They are
Or
the Lobos.
the Lobos. Where is Marquette?
Marquette is
Marquette sounds something like stagey, like art schooly kind of shit. Like the
it's
Marquette
out of
stage left.
Chicago.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Well, everything in Chicago's artsy fartsy. You got the fucking Chicago School of Art. You got DePaul. When the fuck is DePaul gonna be good at basketball again? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, when I moved out of Chicago and to Oklahoma when I was a very young lad, my brothers, I'm the youngest of 9 kids, so they had a whole bunch of hand-me-downs. I had this sick fucking, like, silver blue, like, shiny blue DePaul jacket. It was a button, yeah,
Yeah.
windbreaker. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, with the tight cuffs like I'm wearing now,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah, like the
beautiful.
three colors around the neck
Yeah,
collar.
yeah, like this. Look at this. It was sick. And then kids would ask me, "Who the fuck is the ball?" I'm like,
No.
"It's a school." And yeah, that was it. But they were good for like a couple years, and then we haven't seen DePaul in the fucking March Madness in
Yeah. Um,
forever.
yeah, it's just those kids. I mean, I think it's harder and harder to recruit, and I think those smaller schools, they get maybe
They got
once every 20 years they'll get a good player
you
that
find a
kind of
spark.
inspires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You found
So
some fucking sad story, like, I hate to say it like this, but it's like, like some Hollywood story, like you pick some kid off the street that ends up being a savant, and it gets other players around him, and then you have a good like
yeah,
3-4 year run, and then that's it.
yeah,
And then he gets drafted, and before he even plays a game in the NBA, he ODs on cocaine. Rest in peace, Len Bias. Sorry, that was a long way to get there.
yeah.
But that is what
But
happened,
I
and that
knew who you
sucks
were
for him.
talking about.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I don't pride myself on knowing basketball that well. Like I'm a fan. I'm I am a huge fan of basketball. I
Yeah.
love college playoff basketball um more than I love college basketball more than I love NBA. I like NBA playoffs. I used to like it more. I don't like it so much now. Like the whole bubble shit and all this other stuff. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just I'm not trying to be like old manish about it, but it's just not a game I enjoy watching anymore. It's not exciting to me. But college basketball is still just as exciting to me as when I first started. I started listening to March Madness on a Catholic youth retreat. Um, some of my friends, they were like, "We got to go back to the van because Oklahoma State's playing or whatever, and we got to listen to the game." And I just wanted to hang out with them. So yeah, and I was just ended up listening to college basketball, and it kind of sparked my like whatever about that. I not whatever the my sports fanmanship of
Yeah.
I guess of college basketball because my I grew up in a sports house. I played sports, baseball. I tried football, didn't work. I'm very not footballish. Um, my grandfather was invited to be a referee for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very
when
cool.
yeah, this is Chicago back way back in the day, but,
So this was like
yeah, Grandpa
curling for them?
Ryan.
Like
Huh?
the old school Harlem Globetrotters,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
curling
when
and
it was black and white and,
yeah.
playing on actual hardwood courts and shit, yeah.
Yeah.
When people actually used to go watch the Harlem Globetrotters,
Yeah.
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 But,
Yeah.
he couldn't do it. My grandfather, on my mom's side is, he was the father of 8, so couldn't do it, stayed home. But we're getting off track, I'm sorry. I don't know. I just had a high moment
Hey,
and a nice
what
little well, how did we get here? Do you wanna
hey,
backtrack?
I'll take any insights to the game. So
Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah, but anyway, what I'm saying is, I love the sport. I love, the game. I enjoy college more than I enjoy the NBA.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because it's never the same teams consistently. It always changes up a little bit more every single year. You know,
Well, my thing is that college athletes are trying to get to play pro.
yeah,
So
because that's where
they're
the
going to
money
try
is.
harder. They're going to try harder than somebody that's getting paid $20 million a year. You know, especially in the NBA. Like I'm not going to speak any names, but somebody that always sits and rests games. Like,
LeBron.
okay, you're getting $20 million and you're resting. Don't you have rest between practices? So I mean, I don't know. To me, it just seems that
I I
you,
get that completely as because coming from the fan aspect, when you especially if you're like say you're a Charlotte Hornets fan. Are they still a team?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
But
Actually,
yeah, you don't have anyone good or you're DC and all of a sudden LA's coming in. You're like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get to see fucking LeBron play. I'm gonna get to see who's that big white boy they just got from Dallas
yeah,
because they're
Luca.
stupid." Yeah, why the fuck Dallas did that? It's dumb. Anyway, and you buy a ticket and you go, and it's super expensive for whatever reasons, and they up the prices per who's coming into town. And they up the prices because it is LeBron and the Lakers coming to town, and then those motherfuckers don't even fucking play.
Yeah,
And that's it's bullshit, dude.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
hockey's so much better, dude, in that aspect. Because when anyone says like load management, whatever, you just throw hockey at them, and they're like, "Look, hockey plays more intense, more time, and these guys aren't sitting out." So
yeah.
yeah, suck it
Uh,
up.
I don't have a lot of respect for professional athletes that sit out. I mean, I could see if you're hurt, but sitting out just to sit out because you don't want to play, or it
I
seems that
think
way. That's
I
the
think the
perception.
NBA
You don't
needs to
want to
start
play.
drug testing. If the NBA starts drug testing, I think that will change. I think this whole sitting out shit, this whole, and not to like put it like I don't know. I am
Well,
putting it on
I
drugs.
think it should be in their
Fuck them.
contract. I think it
Yeah,
should be in their
yeah,
contract. You know, you're going to get 20 million a year, and you're going to play every game that you're physically cleared by the physician. If not,
exactly.
you're going to get fined.
Dude, baseball's trying to do the same thing with starting pitchers. This whole fucking load management, dude. Why are they pulling pitchers when they're throwing no-nos in the eighth? And be like,
Yeah,
oh my god, he's at 78 pitches. If he hits 80, we have to take him out and we may not make the playoffs. Let the guy fucking throw the no-hitter. This whole uh combined no-hitter bullshit is crap, and they're trying to
yeah.
turn it into a stat, and we're getting away from basketball. So I'm gonna pull us back on track. So we got
So
Mark
what's after Marquette and the Lobos, New
Michigan
Mexico?
State at number 2 and Bryant at a 15 seed. I think this
I
one's
love.
pretty clear.
Yeah, Bryant is probably my favorite university of all time.
Are you
So
shitting
they
me? You
were.
don't even know who the fuck?
Yes, that's a joke. A little sarcasm for the
Okay.
broadcast. Um, yeah, yeah. Bryant's not going nowhere. But again, I'm glad they get the exposure. You know, players get to play on TV. But next one, Sparty wins easily.
Ooh, the big old green. Shooting across over to the east, we got Duke at number 1, playing against 16 seed, which could be yeah, or Mount St. Mary's. So we got to play in between American and Mount St. Mary's. Either one of them is going to play Duke.
Yeah. Yeah, Mount St. Mary's was one of my actual Cinderellas, and not a Cinderella to win it all, but to kind of upset first round. And I think they will win their play-in game. So I think Duke will be playing Mount St. Mary's because they're on the I believe they're on the West Coast Conference or the WAC conference. They're out here out in California. So
how how funny is it that the West Coast it's all whack. It's
I know. That's what I keep telling. I keep telling my daughters, you better not go to a school that's whack, man.
yeah, I don't go no
Pick a different
whack ass
conference.
school. You know what
Be
I gotta
talking
hear
trash
from
all
all
the
my
time.
friends? Your daughter goes to some whack ass school. You know how many people I gotta punch?
Can you imagine winning the
Yeah,
whack championship?
yeah, yeah.
That means you're super whack.
Dude, if I was about 21 years old again, I bet I could win the whack championship.
So I think yeah, Duke is just as much as I hate to say it, they're kind of on fire right now. You know, and they didn't even have Cooper Flag, one of their main players. And they won kind of not easily, just too many mistakes by UNC, but they did
That
win
wasn't a
against
bad
Louisville.
game. I watched the first half of that game. It wasn't bad. Like I mean, it ends up. Any, I'll be the first one to tell you. I enjoyed. I prefer to turn on basketball games in the second half as opposed to the first half, especially in college ball because the way teams come back, like you see kids get lazy, and then other kids like pound, like it's just a better game, like you said.
Yeah,
They're more hungry for it, but um, the second half of basketball is always better. There's always a chance, you know. So uh, yeah, Duke. I don't know, Duke over Mount St. Mary's because you said Mount
yeah.
St. Mary's. So damn, I don't know. I lost my train of thought there for a second. So we'll just go ahead and drop down for another 8-9 seed.
Yeah, see,
Mississippi
this
State.
is this is 8-9-2 is like you said. That's one of those kind of
It could be
flip of the
nine
coin,
eight.
right?
It doesn't matter, right?
The thing is, Mississippi State is in the SEC. I think they've went against harder competition.
I don't
Um,
like Baylor's record. They don't have 20 wins. I understand whatever their
Yeah.
fucking conference, but even then their conference is not that strong. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't look like a strong Baylor team. They're not. I mean, it's just Mississippi State
Yeah. This
just
one is really,
on the
really
eye
close
test.
as far as stats too. I mean, it's they're as far as points per game, rebounds per game, and stuff like that. It's really, really close. But I just think Mississippi State has been tested a lot tougher, and that they'll overcome Baylor. I think it'll be a close game, obviously, because it's 8-9. But um, I think Mississippi State moves on.
Mississippi State over Baylor. Dropping down, we got the Ducks of Oregon at the number 3 seed against a 12 seed of Liberty. Oregon coming in with a record of 24-9, Liberty 28-6.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I look at this one, I immediately want to jump Oregon. Um Wait, that's not a 3 seed. That's a 5 seed. I'm sorry. I
It's
mispronounced
five.
that.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, 5.
5-12.
Yeah,
5-12.
5-12. So this is one of those 5-12s that I mean, if you look across, we didn't give the upset to UC San Diego over Michigan. So do
Right.
we give this upset here, Liberty over Oregon, or does Oregon move on?
Yeah, I think. Gosh, this is a tough one, man. Lots of pressure.
Yeah.
Um,
Good thing you're not a duck because your butt will explode and it'll make bubbles in the water.
I just want to give the edge to Oregon simply because they're in the Big Ten, and that's one. I think you mentioned the second conference with the most teams in it.
Yeah.
So I think their quality of conference play will play a factor in beating Liberty.
Can I tell you that when in the past when I've done these brackets, I always I look up, like we know the 5-12 seeds, there's usually going to be an upset there. And when I get to the 5-12 seed in every region, I look at every other 5-12 seed and decide whether or not that's going to be the one
Mhm.
that does it. Does that make sense?
It does. It
Yeah.
does. Because
Like,
you figure one of the 4 5-12s is going to upset.
yeah,
So I
because
mean, if you have, I mean, I want you to give your perception too, because you can change my mind.
yeah.
My word is not law.
No, it
So
isn't, and
I'm just
that's
kind
why
of
we're doing this. We're discussing it, and we're creating the perfect
yeah
bracket, and we're gonna be millionaires,
yeah.
or at least 100,000
Yeah.
Yeah, and get your ass out of California so you can escape those
Thank
mudslides
you
that
very
go on.
much.
Bring you back over to UNC. We'll go to fucking
When
games and
Newport
shit.
cigarettes are sold.
Yeah, the real ones. Menthol, not those brown red
Exactly.
fucking package shit.
Yeah.
What the hell? Okay. But all
Uh,
right, before we make this pick, then we'll go shoot down real quick at the
okay.
other 5-12 seeds. Um
Yeah, that's a
you
good
have
idea.
Memphis, a 5 seed against a 12 seed Colorado State.
Yep.
Um Midwest, you have Clemson as a 5 seed with against a 12 seed of McNeese. Okay. Shooting across back down into the left. Wait, no,
Well,
that's it. I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
If
Yeah, I'm
if
sorry.
if
Yeah,
it's
I was
it,
looking.
yeah.
I'm so stupid. So the other two 5-12 seeds are Memphis, Colorado State, and
Okay.
Clemson, McNeese. I oh God.
So
I
Colorado State won their conference. They upset the team that was supposed to win. So they did win the Mount West.
Does that take
Um,
the wind out of them though?
no, I think it improves. They won, so I think they're on a rolling high
Stone.
right now, so to speak.
Yeah.
uh, so I think this will, even though I like Memphis, I Coach Penny. I think Colorado State may win this one, um, just because Memphis State may overestimate them. They may not take 'em
Yeah.
seriously or whatever the case is. And I just think Colorado State will be the wait a
I-
minute, we do have to play a game. Memphis players will be like, "Whoa,
Okay.
they
So
had
originally, what we were
no,
doing is we were checking the other 5-12 seeds to see which one was going to be the upset.
yeah,
Um, so going back, it's not going to be you. You think it's going to be Memphis, Colorado State, the
no."
5-12 seed,
I,
or
I think Colorado State is going to beat Memphis
okay,
because see, I think Memphis will still they'll I think they'll be thinking about getting overlooked. And they should have got a seed that the UNC seed got right. So I think they'll be kind of not focused on the game. Colorado State just won their conference championship. They're on a roll. That's how it's going to happen. As far as the other
okay.
one, Clemson and McNeese, I think that's an easy
What?
one.
What?
Clemson.
Hold on. We don't have
Well,
to go to that yet. We don't have to go to that
okay,
yet because you picked Colorado State as the 12-5 upset. So
okay,
that means we've got Oregon beating Liberty, going back
correct.
up to our east because that's originally where we were. So, all right, that solves that. Dropping down from there, we have a number 4 Arizona against a 13 seed Akron. Arizona with a
Akron.
record of Akron. Sorry, yeah, I forget you're from that fucking state.
Yeah.
Very, very luscious green fucking farmland or whatever.
It's too
Ohio.
bad. It's too bad our third partner is not here because you know what Akron's nickname is?
Are they the Zips?
They are.
They are the Zips, and we're referring to Jimmy, our friend who is Asian. And we're deep enough into the podcast we can get racist.
So I think
It's
this is the
okay.
easy
He's
one.
he's
I,
yeah.
I think this is easy. Arizona, they've been on a tear lately. They haven't won all their games, but they got a couple kids that just ball out. And
Remember when
yeah.
Arizona? I remember in the '90s watching, or maybe early 2000s, Arizona had a run where they.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry if
yeah,
my voice keeps cracking; it's all the pollen in the air. The Arizona had a fucking run. It wasn't. Was it Bibby? Was BB? No, wait. I'm
yeah. It's
fucking
Mike
getting them wrong.
Bibby. Mike Bibby.
Was he Arizona?
Mike Bibby. Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
they had a coach named Lute Olson. He was like an old school coach.
Sounds like
He
Lou
actually,
Holtz, so he's good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and they did have a couple good runs, here and there. So, but I like them. I watched the Big 12 championship. Now Arizona didn't win it, but I just like how Arizona was playing. They got a lot of quality players. They're gonna kill Akron. So yeah,
Does
that's
Arizona
probably
have
an
a
easy pick.
big man that can hit threes?
Yeah.
I
Well,
want to
I
like.
don't know. I can't recall if he can net threes, but
I should have done more
the point
research
point
because
guards are really good. Um, but they're just. I mean, they could shoot inside, outside, all that stuff. So
yeah.
I just think it's going to be too much for Akron. Akron's going to be waiting for the
Okay.
bus to warm up.
So Arizona over Akron dropping down. We have number 6 seed, the false religion of BYU, and against number 11 seed VCU. And I say that false religion because I was growing up Catholic, and that shit's false too. Anyway, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Dude, no, I've been getting into like true crime podcasts, and I've listened to this. Have you ever listened to the last podcast on the left?
No.
Oh,
There's
they're
only
so
one
good.
there's only one podcast I listen to actually.
Is it this one?
It is this one.
Oh my god, I love you so much.
No, I just don't
Okay.
have time for podcasts, and this is the only one
Yeah.
I can get really time and that interests me, with
Cool.
any kind of perspective. So
Fantastic. Well, we'll get right by then. So we got BYU And VCU, it's a University of U's. BYU 24-9, VCU 28-6.
Yeah.
This one,
Yeah.
I want to just throw a dart at the fucking wall. Really, I think
Uh,
BYU is gonna pull it off because I always used to think of VCU because I think they had that one run a year
yeah.
where they were like made a Cinderella run. So I've
Yeah.
always thought of them as like, oh, they're always going to be an upsetter. But
Yeah.
didn't their bald headed coach fucking go somewhere else
He
after
did.
they?
Once
Yeah,
he got that, I'm not sure if he left right after that season or the next season, but he did leave, and he played for a couple good schools. And one was Texas. Shaka Smart was his
yeah. I
name.
think he's Texas Tech now. I think I don't
Yeah,
know.
I know
Yeah,
he's moved around just
don't
because
quote me on
that's
that.
how the coaching carousel goes. But
Mhm.
VCU is from Richmond, so we kind of have a fondness for those Virginia teams being we were stationed there. But
You have a fondness.
BYU is going to spank
I
them.
just loved hanging out there. Yeah. BYU with the fucking all right. The silly underwear people of BYU are gonna beat VCU of Virginia. That is coast to coast right there. Okay. Oh man, here we go. Dropping down to Wisconsin, number 3 against 14 Montana. Pretty much the same record. Wisconsin just came off their win. I think they won tonight.
No,
Did they not?
Michigan won the
That's
Big
right.
Ten.
That's right. And that's why we have you on here to keep me in fucking check. I think I had some notes on Wisconsin. There was a guy's name that was making me laugh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Number 13 for Wisconsin. I was watching that game. They kept on calling what I think his name was Anus. So, every time they're like, Anus. I was like,
Yeah,
are they? It could have been Amos.
it
It
could
could
have
have
been.
been, but I don't know whoever the sportscaster was, but also alcohol may have been a factor in it as well as I was
Yeah,
watching the game,
yeah.
but it
That's one thing
sounded
about all these little teams that you don't hear about, or you don't follow, and you got a report on them. That's one thing I'm really adamant about is if you're going to speak about a player or a team, or if you're going to comment on a game, you need to know the player's name. And I know they
okay.
take meetings with these players and stuff, so they should get if they have any kind of questions, they should get it
Es-
right. I mean, come on.
Especially, yeah, like I mean, I hardly doubt the kid's name is Anus, but I mean, you like you were just saying, like if it's anywhere close, like I have to make sure I pronunciate correctly whenever this kid gets the ball because people are going to think I'm talking about butts. And there was another. I was watching the Tennessee game, and there's a kid that plays for Tennessee. His name is Will Richard. Okay, Will Richard, and they're like Will Richard the ball, and I was like, I was like, Little Richard. It sounded like Lil Richard, and I did the
Oh
Michael.
man.
I did the Michael Jackson impression. I shouldn't have, but
Mm.
but no, Will Richard sounds exactly like Lil Richard
Uh,
when they were
well,
the sports casting. So
that's one thing too. You'll start to see some of these players' names because you don't see them all the time, and they'll have names that you're not used to hearing. Duke kills me because they have Knipple, and then they got a guy
hey,
named
hey,
Proctor, so he
hey.
must be an ass. I'm gonna take any second to degrade them. So
The password is Knipple. What's that
sorry,
one
I'm
thing
on
that's
Steven's team.
I'm on Steven's theme. In case
Oh,
anyone is listening, we are quoting one of our favorite movies, Cable Guy of all time. It is a dark comedy and it is
yeah,
fantastic. So okay, we got Wisconsin against Montana. I think are we
yeah.
You were just going
Wisconsin,
Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin
Yeah,
blows them out.
no
Yeah,
problem, no problem. Man, we gotta move a little bit quicker. Okay, drop it down. We got St. Mary's number 7 against a number 10 Vandy. St.
I
Mary
like
coming in at
Vandy.
28
Vandy
and
has had
5.
some, quality wins, but I think St. Mary's is at, but still people, kind of underestimate them. So I think St. win that.
Okay. Do you think St. Mary wins big or they squeak by? Because Vandy,
No,
I mean,
I think it'll be
actually,
close. I think it'll be close, but I think they'll pull away towards the end. So maybe by 10 at the end.
okay. And then dropping down to what should be a clear fucking easy win, we got Bama, the number 2 seed and the number 1 scoring team in college basketball this year against a 15 seed of Rob Morris. Should I just go ahead
Yeah.
and jab Bama down as
Yeah. Bama's
much
going
as
to
I
kill
hate?
Romo. Bama's going to kill Romo.
Ugh, my hand hates making that motion to write Bama. So
Yeah.
we'll get right in it.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. We'll drop down bottom left. We've got coming in number 1 seed Florida 30 and 4 against Norfolk State 24 and 10 as 16 seed. I
I
don't
believe
think
that's
this
Norfolk
is
State.
I yeah, no, I see. I was talking with Jimmy earlier. I was like, fuck, of course these guys had to make it in because I cannot pronounce that goddamn word after
Yeah.
I've had a couple beers. So I'm
Well,
a I want to
yeah.
give it to I'm going to give it to Florida just for that reason because I
Florida,
don't want to have to
yeah.
say.
Florida, I think Florida's, they just got a squad. Yeah.
Did
They're,
you
they're,
see what
they're,
they
they're,
just did against Tennessee tonight? Like it was I thought I thought Tennessee was going to upset Florida. Tennessee
yeah.
came out. Tennessee has that kid that was the or is the all defensive player of college basketball. And he's hitting three. He's being more offensive this game than he is defensive.
Yeah.
And it was a Florida just dominated that game. I think Tennessee got within 9 once Florida pulled ahead in the first fucking half, and then they never let it get closer than 9. And yeah, they cleaned up at the end. So I think Florida advances easy. Dropping down to another 8-9 seed, we have UConn versus Oklahoma.
Probably going to hate me on this one,
No, I hope
but I'm picking the Sooner, Boomer Sooner on this one.
the 9 over UConn.
Um, Simply
That's a
because
hard pick.
I know, but you got to have a couple upsets, in your bracket because that
Yeah.
happens every year. And Oklahoma is now technically in the SEC. They're no longer Big 12. UConn is a two-time champion, but I just don't think they're at the caliber as they were the last couple years.
You
And
think
I
they're on their
think,
way down?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well, I'll write it in. I just have. We got OU over UConn. And drop it down to the next one, Memphis over Colorado State. We already talked about that one. That's going to be your
right.
big upset and our big upset now. Colorado State beats Memphis. Then we have number 4 Maryland, the Crabbers, I believe that's their name, against the 13th seed of Grand
Terrapins.
Canyon. What are
You're
the Terrapins? Turtles. Why are
the
they
Crabbers.
turtles, man? They should be crabs. Maryland
Yeah.
crab,
Well,
right?
I think you're thinking of our time in Virginia. Hampton was the Crabbers. If the high school
No,
team.
that's where we got crabs.
That's a whole nother broadcast. But yes.
That
Let's
fucking
see.
club, the Omni Club.
Jeez,
You know that
tell me
motherfucker.
about it.
Yep. All right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, I just think the Terrapins won't win that. They 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 won't be able to
You think
compete with that game.
you
Yeah.
think Grand Canyon's gonna beat Maryland?
GCU has been crazy, crazy hot the last couple of years. I mean, I think they went to the Sweet 16 last year. or maybe it wasn't even the Sweet 16. Maybe they made it to the round of 32. But they're hot. They're hot, and people don't underestimate them. And
They
Maryland's really they're just a low level Big Ten team. So
I love that
to
pick.
me,
I love I fucking love that pick. You know what? And the only reason I love that pick, other than the fact that you made it, it was Grand Canyon University would not leave me alone for like 4 years after I returned from one of my deployments from when I was stationed at Carson.
uh-huh.
It was one of those reintegration shit, and they wanted your money kind of thing. Like, now that you're
Yeah.
back, spend time at school or some bullshit. Anyway, Grand Canyon University was one of those colleges that had my number forever and had my email forever. So yeah, Grand Canyon over Maryland. We're gonna take it. Oh, I'm gonna write it in all caps just for you.
Well,
All
uh,
right, buddy. We got number 6 versus number 11, Drake. And can I tell you right now, I already don't like Drake because I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan.
I completely understand that. But Drake has been playing. They've been playing lights out, except for their conference championship. The Mountain Mississippi Valley Conference, I believe, MVC. So,
Okay.
um, man, they were on fire. I mean, they were just.
They
But
do have a record of 30 and 3.
Mizzou is in the SEC. So,
Mizzou's 22 and 11. Drake is 30 and
yeah,
3. Drake is not used to losing.
yeah. So I think I'm as much as I want to pull for Drake. Um, I think we got to go Mizzou. SEC again.
Okay.
There's a reason why they're have the most teams in the or the bracket. So
I really thought you were going to go Drake on that one. I
I
really
was,
did.
but you changed my mind.
Did I with the Kendrick Lamar comment? All
Apparently
right.
Drake is not like us. Drake
No.
is not like us.
No, he's not. He's got a way bigger dick than me. Um dropping down, we got Texas Tech coming in on a 3 seed at 25 and 8 versus UNCW 14 seed 27 and 7.
Yeah,
UNCW, I don't think I cared enough that I wrote it out all the way. I think Tech has this.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Yeah, Texas Tech. Boom.
Easy.
Yeah.
Boom. Ooh. I don't know if I've ever seen this university this low of a seed, but we got Kansas as a 7 seed, 21 and 12 against a 10 seed Arkansas at 20 and 13. Now, this used to be a game because weren't they both Big 12 back in the day? I mean, are they still? I mean, SEC, Arkansas is SEC now, right? They're all
Yeah,
SEC.
Arkansas is SEC and Kansas is Big 12, and I think Arkansas did move from Big 12 to SEC at some point.
When it was like the
Um,
Big Eight or some bullshit. I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
back in the day.
Yeah.
So I just think they got there's the player for Kansas is Hunter Dickerson, and I know you are Dickinson. He played for Michigan for a while and transferred to Kansas. But I think he's a solid player, and I think he's going to take this over
Is
the
he
SEC.
is he a big man or is he a
He's a big
quarter?
man. He's like
Okay.
6'10", 6'11". He's a center, so but
Isn't
he
it
can shoot
strange that
he can shoot from the three. So I think he's
right?
you know
Like these are the guys that we're talking about. Like
yeah
when I talk about basketball or hear about basketball, I want to hear about these big guys that can shoot from the outside because that's what the game has developed into now. Like it's
yeah.
you have if you can get a 7 footer that can hit a 20 footer, you're golden. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you're if anything, you're gonna sell tickets.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Right.
uh,
Right.
it's just the game is it's in a weird place right now for me. Like, the pro
I agree.
level is just a bunch of old guys to me right now, and the young guys are just usually kinda hurt. Like, the NBA's it's kinda like a graveyard. The NCAA is where it is. Like, it's nice to see that trying. So, yeah.
I'm kind of biased with Kansas too because they have a player named KJ Adams.
There we
Just
go.
just a
That's all
side
you
note.
gotta
Just a
say.
side note. That's not why I picked them for this game, but I'm just
There
letting you know.
I'm writing it down right
No
here in my
dash, no
notes.
dash. He
KJ
just has
picked
KJ.
KJ because of KJ. Yeah, with no dash. With no
That dash is
I'm gonna write that down in
extremely
short.
important.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it down in shorthand. And by short, I mean so short that I'm not writing it down at all. Um, Finally, down here in this region, we got number 2 St. John's against a 15 Omaha
Yeah, we're
Picnic
going Johnny's.
team.
We're going Johnny's on this
Yeah,
one.
St. John's looks kinda
If
tough
you
right
ain't down with
now.
Johnny, then you ain't cool, man.
You ain't cool until you down with this motherfucker. Especially the Saint one. You
Yeah,
ain't gotta do shit
I
anymore to
told.
be a
Didn't I tell
saint.
you you're a saint?
I am. My mother tells me that too. I think once, or at least I think she told me she loved me. Anyway, we're shooting over to the Midwest. We have
Right.
number 1 seeded Houston coming in with a record of 30-4 against 16
Yeah.
seed
Yeah.
SIUE. Yeah, we can just I'm gonna go ahead and
That's pretty much a
write.
given.
Yeah.
The coach has been there. He's done great things. He's a veteran of college basketball. So yeah, it's Houston all the way on that one.
So we have now just not chosen a number 1 seed to go down to a 16 seed.
Not yet.
It's not. No, no, not in the first round.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's it. The number 1 seeds were Houston, which we have over SIU, what we just said, Florida over Norfolk State, Auburn over what will probably be San Fran or Bama State, doesn't matter, and Duke over Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah.
So we are predicting a non-16 seed upset over a number 1.
Correct.
So, oh man, this game here, I I I need a lot of your intellect on your information. I'm trying to find the right words to start to number 8 Gonzaga 25-8 against number 9 Georgia at
Yeah.
20-12.
Well, Gonzaga. I mean, they're on the West Coast. You know, they're from Spokane, Washington, but they're one of the teams out of their conference that really um, kind of is way above the other teams. So I got Gonzaga in this one.
Okay. We're gonna put down Zags. That's the only team that ever confused me because I always write it down as Zags instead of Gonzaga. And yeah, weird. All right, and I'm hoping you go the right way with this one, even though I hate this team. Number 5, Clemson at 27-6 record against the number 12 McNeese at 27-6. Again, same exact record. I hate
Yeah,
Clemson. I know I live in South Carolina. I'm not a Cox fan either. I mean, if I was a Cox fan, they would make me gay, and I'm not that. So, and I hate Clemson, and I hate Clemson for one reason and one reason only. Um, the Hurricane game against Notre Dame. Uh, it, Notre Dame should have won that game. It was called the wrong way. There were fumbles that were, and it was during a fucking hurricane year in South Carolina. Anyway, it was the only game that Notre Dame had lost that season. They went on to get blown out in whatever. It doesn't matter. But
yeah.
I hate Dabo Sweeney. That's the stupidest
I
fucking
know
name in
you
the
do.
world.
I know you do. You hate his name. You
Yeah,
hate his look. You hate
I
everything about that
I hate the way he fucking talks.
guy.
I hate the way he runs. It's stupid. Everything about that guy just makes me want to fucking hit him with a table. It
He
doesn't
does.
matter the size of the table. I will get strong enough to hit him with a fucking bigger table if I need to.
Well, it looks like he does wear Dockers, and if you're not wearing Dockers, you're just wearing pants. But I get it. I get it.
Okay.
There's coaches
So
I hate too, man, for
and
a
we're
million
not even
reasons.
talking about their damn basketball team, which we're sure is gonna beat McNeese, are we not?
Yeah,
Like Clemson's got this. Ugh, ugh. I'm just
still
gonna
got a
write
little
down
hate.
Clem. I'm gonna write down Clem because it sounds like it's a name from what's that movie with Burt Reynolds where they get raped and then the arm comes up at the end and John Voight wakes up and is all uh you know which one?
Is
Squeal
that
like
like
a pig
squeal like a
boy.
pig?
Yeah.
Squeal like a pig?
Yeah.
Suey!
Deliverance. Yeah. The
Suey!
I watched it all the way through to the end, like for the first time in a long time, and I forgot about like the whole reason they're going down there is because they're gonna flood that area.
Yeah.
So they kill that guy, and then at the end, like the hand comes up, and John Boyd wakes up like
Yeah.
in a sweat, like, oh, they're gonna find the body. Okay.
I,
Anyway, we can
I
do a
love
whole
doing that,
movie.
watching movies.
We can do a movie cast.
Watching movies after I've watched them when I was little, and then
Oh
understanding
yeah.
why I was scared in the first place.
Or laughing at other shit that you didn't realize, like
Yeah.
watching Caddyshack as an adult
Oh, dude.
instead of just jacking off during the boat scene. You put a hole, you scratched my anchor. And get your dick ready because you're about to see tits right after that line. I guarantee. Anyway, okay. All right, we have last year's semifinal loser, Purdue, at number 4, coming in at 22-11. Again, oh my God, this college is named after, I believe, a gun manufacturer. 13 seed High Point,
Yep.
29-5.
It's actually located in North Carolina too, High Point,
It's
North
like going
Carolina.
to like Winchester fucking University, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Purdue on this one. Just Big Ten, second most teams in the conference, strength of
Purdue,
conference.
like the chicken, huh?
I'm a big advocate of strength of conference, just because if you
Yeah,
play against better competition, you're going to you know beat lower
it
competition,
is.
and High Point is
And
not.
yeah, and for most cases in every other sport that is true, but I think and it's still true in college basketball, but I think in college basketball the level is a little bit closer.
Hmm.
Like there's always like when if you watch college football when Alabama takes on Lafayette State, it's
Yeah,
going to be a blowout. It's very rare that upset's going to happen. But in college basketball, like it gets really close. Like it gets really close a lot more often than most people think
yeah,
if you're just watching the game. So,
yeah.
I mean,
I would agree. The matchups are definitely closer and more important, just because it seems more. You know, you don't know who's going to win. It's
yeah.
not as obvious as it is in football, but still, I
I
mean,
mean,
there are some upsets in football, but again,
but like
I think there's more so in college basketball because there's so many variables that
yeah,
play it apart.
there's a reason why people offer $1 million to for a perfect bracket because it's probably not gonna fucking happen other than what we're gonna do, you know. But
That's true.
yeah, it never. I mean, within the first day, within the first by the first evening, there's gonna be posts about bracket busted about some
Yeah.
bullshit. Not according to us, but no number one seed going down just yet. But um, we get rid of High Point by Purdue, and we come to number 6 Illinois against a win in, I believe, between Texas and Xavier.
Yeah.
So, I how do you see the Texas Xavier win in game going first?
I think Texas will beat Xavier. Xavier's not. I mean, they've played a couple games, did some good things, but I think Texas has got better wins, better quality wins. But when it comes to Illinois and Texas, I just think Illinois will. I've seen them play a couple times, so I think they'll just overcome whoever you know meets that 11 seed at
Okay. And then Texas beats Xavier and then goes up against Illinois as an 11 seed. Do the Fighting Illini pull that one off?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got Illinois.
Illinois, thank you for saying it without the S. Next up, we got number 3 seed Kentucky against 14 seed Troy. Kentucky's got a record 22-11, Troy 23-10.
It's kind of funny too because the 5 and 12 and the 8 and 9 are usually the brackets that you're kind of on the fence about. But lately, for me, the 3 and 14 have been kind of questionable because Kentucky's been just a disappointment. Um, I don't know if Troy can beat them. Um, but man, I think they do have a chance, but I'm going to go with Kentucky.
All right. Thank you, because I was very hesitant to put Troy if you were going to say that. I was like, I really don't want to do that, but okay. Oh, here we
I'm not really gonna put Troy
yeah,
down.
no, I wrote it down. I wrote it down. I'm gonna send you the pictures.
I
Dude,
got a
this
pencil and an
this,
eraser too.
this is the exact same bracket I'm gonna put into the league you sent the invite for
Okay,
me to. Yeah. I don't know if
sounds
you
good.
noticed. Yeah. I'm Big Balls 69. That's my team.
No surprise there.
Yep. I just felt I would go old school with it. So we got coming in at number 7 seed UCLA with a record of 22-10 against a 10 seeded Utah State at 26-7. This one has me a little bit because Utah State
Uh,
has some has just I don't know. I don't know. There's a spark there that kind of makes me afraid. And also because UCLA seems a bit too confident for me, even as a number 7 seed.
Statistically, Utah State is a lot better. So then you got to look at for me, this is how I kind of analyze it is look at team statistics and then look at the conference, how tough is their conference. Um, See, Utah State is like Mountain West, so that's mid-major. UCLA has played against the Big Ten now, so they not only, played against USC, some of the other former Pac-12 members, but they played in, Ohio State, Michigan, all those Big Ten members. I just think Big UCLA is going to pull it out. I mean, I think Utah State will give them a fight early on, but UCLA will find a way to overcome.
So they go ahead and with the win and do not allow the upset. Now we drop down to what I think is a clear cut number 2 Tennessee team. As awful as they played against Florida today, they are a much better team than that. Against the 15 seed of Wolford, who don't even have 20 wins. They're
Yeah,
19, and yeah. So do you
Tennessee is
do you
pissed.
concur?
Tennessee is pissed. right?
Very.
They're
That was a shit game. Did you
when they
watch
go to
that?
practice, when they go to practice tomorrow, or if they went to practice today, they're pissed, and they're up to prove something. Easily beat Wolford.
Tennessee isn't going to see a matchup until they meet up with Kentucky. And that's even an if because I don't know how Illinois is going to go. So, we just went through the first round. Do you want to speed through our next one?
Yeah, we can.
Well, good. Oh, I mean, I don't want to speed through it, but like, I mean, we can go back to our South region, and we've got an Auburn team versus a Louisville,
Uh-huh.
and ooh, does Auburn stay the number one overall,
I
or
think
does
so.
Louisville upset them?
I said the only thing, and I don't want to jinx any team or any players because I wish the health and best of all the players that participate. But as long as they stay healthy, they 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 crush Louisville. Louisville can't handle that.
Next up, we got number 5 Michigan against a number 4 Texas A&M.
Mhm.
Now, remember, we got Michigan coming off a UC San Diego win. We got A&M coming off a win against Yale. Where do you see this one going?
See, this is to me, this is an interesting one because I think Michigan gets challenged versus the UCSD game. So I think they'll be tired mentally, physically, and I think Texas A&M moves on.
All right, Texas A&M. I like writing that down because it's like Tex A&M, right?
Yeah,
Reminds me of
TAMU.
Tex. Yeah, reminds me of Tex Mex. Making me hungry. Want tacos after this?
I'll be over in a little bit, then.
Hell yeah!
uh,
Next up, we got UNC versus an 11 seed UNC versus a number 3 Iowa State. Like we said before, Iowa State is an upsetting team. It's not a team that gets upset; they just lose. At least I said that. So, does UNC make it further, or do
no,
they just gas out?
unfortunately, UNC it gets confused. Hubert Davis doesn't have a plan. Iowa State moves on,
I
and
hate to
that's
see
it.
it, but hey, at least your team made it. I don't even think Notre Dame is even going to make that NIT. So the not in tournament.
Right, exactly.
Finalizing the South region, we've got Marquette versus Michigan State. The battle of the M's. These guys are both close in
Yeah.
location, are they not? So, I mean, I liked when it comes down to teams like this. I like to look at if they've got outside shooters
Uh-huh.
and um their percentage of hitting and how many they have because I think I know what people say defense wins championships, but when it comes to NCAA basketball, I think the more shooters you have, the more offense you have, the better
Yeah.
chance you are going to have to win. You know,
That makes sense.
you can have a defensive player of the year, but you probably only have one of those guys. But you can have multiple fucking scorers.
Yeah.
So I think whoever's the higher scoring team here, which I believe is
Well,
going to be what?
no, go ahead.
No,
Who do you believe?
like I'm going Michigan State on this. I'm going Sparty, but
I would totally agree with you because
okay.
exactly what you said that defense is great. Defense helps win championships, but if you don't have enough people to put the ball in the hole, that's how you win. You got to make more points than your opponent, and they do. Michigan State beats Marquette.
Fantastic. Jumping over to the right, over to the east, we have Duke, number 1 seed against number 8 seed Mississippi State. I think Duke moves.
Oh, bitch.
I don't like it. I don't
Oh,
like it,
yeah.
but I think Duke at least makes it to this next round.
I do too. Yeah, I mean Cooper Flag is back.
This
As
guy's a
much as
fucking
I
dude.
wish he would
Yeah.
not be, but yeah, they're just tough, man. I mean, you got to be honest. I hate them, but they move on. They beat uh, the Bulldogs, Mississippi State.
Dropping down, we see number 5 Oregon against number 4 Arizona. Again, Oregon, we have them picking coming off that win against Liberty, and
Mhm.
Arizona winning against Akron, Akron, that place.
Say it 3 times.
There it is. I mean, the first one was cool. Uh, so I mean, the Ducks versus the Wildcats, are they right?
I like Arizona still. I think they're still on a run. Still got players that want to play. The
Boo.
next matchup may be a little bit different, but Akron, or excuse me, Arizona moves on past Oregon.
Nice. Okay, just before the end here, we have BYU, and I said just before the end of the East, we have BYU, number 6 seed against Wisconsin, the Badgers, with a
Yeah,
3 seed.
I think BYU pulls up the upset, man.
Do you really?
Yeah, Wisconsin, gets a little too complacent against Montana, their previous game, and then they have to face up against a real power team, and not power four team, but they got a lot of ballers, a lot of players, do lots of things. I just think BYU just kind of overcomes them, man.
You have a lot of faith in that Mormon religion, huh?
Well,
As
hey,
fake as it
it's
is.
all it's not about religion. It's about stats. I'm just looking
It
at the
is to
stats.
them. It is
Yeah,
to them.
yeah,
All right. So next up we have number 7 St. Mary against a number 2 seeded Alabama. Again, the number 1
well,
over all scoring
this will
offense.
be easy. The word you hate to write will advance.
Ugh. I'm gonna
So,
misspell it on purpose.
yeah,
I don't know
but
how I misspell Bama. I'm gonna spell it with an
mhm.
N. Bana, like Eric Bana, the one of the Incredible Hulks, and Awesome in Munich, by the way, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Crazy.
We're gonna drop down. We're gonna go. We've got Florida versus Oklahoma, and going back on the tape, you had a pretty
Mhm.
big hard on for OU.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
got
think
Gator
they beat?
Chomp. Gator
There we
Chomp.
go. Oh yeah,
Boom. They beat the Boomer Sooners.
they beat them. I mean, sorry for you, Sooner fans, but I mean, you're used to it by now. Next up, we got Colorado State, who we have upsetting Memphis versus Grand Canyon, also upsetting Maryland. So it's a
Yeah,
battle of the upsets. Colorado
yeah.
State versus Grand Canyon. Who do you see
I
moving?
think GCU still has their squad that he advanced on, so I think they'll beat. It'll be a tough one. It's not like a easy one. It's
You
not
got
a
a
blowout, that's for
fucking
sure.
you got a
But I
13
think
seed moving.
GCU will pull through. Um, but then they got to meet Florida,
Yeah,
so
we'll get to
that
that.
may be a different story.
We'll just go ahead and write in Florida right there. All right. I'll just go ahead and I'll put Florida in.
Oh yeah,
Against
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
that's they're
it's
not
true.
moving any further. Yeah. And any way else that bottom part of that bracket goes, we got Florida moving on. So it's a good safe pick. Um Drop it down. We got number 6, Mississippi against the Texas Tech of Texas.
I just Texas Tech, man, they've had a really good, like, they beat some good teams, man, and I just like them over Mizzou. I don't think Mizzou's ready. Even though they beat Drake, I
Yeah,
think they'll
sorry.
be
I
a
said
little,
Mississippi. I meant Missouri. I'm sorry.
yeah.
So, yep,
So
we got Texas Tech.
Tex, yeah,
Damn, God, I really want tacos. Maybe a burrito. What time is
that
it?
sounds really good. For real.
Right. We got Rock Chalk J Hawk of
Okay.
Kansas up against St. John's, a 2 seed versus a 7 seed. I think this is going to be a very tough game.
Um,
I
Kansas has a really special place in my heart. One because my cousin has she's a Jayhawk.
She was a Rock
Um,
Chalk.
yeah, and then our North Carolina coach Gene Smith came from Kansas. He came from Kansas, and then he was able to get a job at UNC as a coach. So
Hell yeah.
there's a big connection between Kansas and UNC basketball, and so it's hard for me to bet against them. But I think the Johnnies, I got to go with the Johnnies, man. The Johnnies are just on fire, man. Seriously.
Fucking A right. Sex is on fire. I don't even like that band. I like that song. And then, yeah, whatever. Or I won't get into it. We're going to bounce over to the Midwest region. We have Houston versus Gonzaga. So a number 1 seeded Houston versus number 8 seed Gonzaga, who we have picked to come off a very tight win against Georgia and an easy win for
Yeah.
Houston. So does Houston get tested here?
No, I don't think so. I think Gonzaga runs up against the buzzsaw. I think they they don't know what they're playing. So Houston moves on.
God, I remember when Zag used to be the Cinderella story every year,
They did. They did.
and
I
then
mean, they
now it's
used to
just
be. Now
they're
they're like a
there.
commonplace number,
Yeah,
but now
they're a
I just don't think
placeholder.
they have it this year.
They're a fucking placeholder now because of the conference they play in, and
Well,
because they
that's
got there, and now they make it, and they don't really go far anymore. Like,
that's again the thing. Once you win a certain amount of times, you get kind of team recognition, and I think that's. I know it's not what the committee looks for, but I think just because they hear the name, they think, okay, well, this is a possibility,
yeah.
so they pick them in. But of course, some conferences have automatic bids anyway. So if you win your own conference,
Right.
so it doesn't
And
matter. But
that's just because it's a fucking money game.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
automatic bid means you bring enough revenue that we're gonna give you
yeah.
this shit. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of revenue games, we have Clemson against Purdue. So we have a 5 seed Clemson against 4 seed Purdue. Ooh,
Well,
this is
I
the
know, I know you
ugliest.
hate this one. I know you hate this one too.
I
But
hate the
per-
colors of these teams. This is a court that is just looks like a bucket of vomit. You have Clemson and you have Purdue on the court. It looks
um,
like a child who like went to a birthday party and ate bad pizza and like threw up in a bucket. And that's what this fucking court looks like, Clemson versus Purdue, as far as
yeah,
colors go.
I just think Purdue kind of gets tested versus McNeese, but they kind of get it together. So when they go to the next round, they have it.
Clemson plays McNeese, Purdue's High Point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when Clemson beats McNeese and then Purdue beats High Point, that Clemson gets things together. They kind of get things settled, so they beat Purdue.
All right. We're going Clem over Houston. Okay. The Fighting Illini at number 6 versus number 3 Kentucky. That one actress's favorite fucking team. I think. What is she? What was it? They're like sisters. Who's
I
the
don't know.
actress that's a big Kentucky fan? Not Dunn. Ah,
Oh, I
son
know
of a
who you're talking about, the
bitch.
blonde hair
Yeah,
girl. Yeah,
yeah, short hair.
I forget her
Anyway,
name, but yeah, she's always you
their
see her
aunt
at
said we're like country music stars and they had big tits or something. Something that got everyone's attention. So we got
yeah, right.
Illinois versus Kentucky.
Well, we got Kentucky beating them, but they're playing Tennessee, right? 'Cause then we picked Tennessee. Don't you have that?
What?
I
Uh,
got Illinois and Kentucky. Kentucky winning versus Illinois.
yeah, bam, and then dropping down UCLA versus what? Yeah, UCLA
Yeah,
Tennessee.
yeah. Tennessee's too tough, man. They got a lot of good players.
You think? I mean, UCLA is a 7 seed, and Tennessee. I did not like the way Tennessee played today against Florida. Granted, it was against Florida, and I take that with a grain of salt, but they just they shit the bed from the very beginning of the game. They
Yeah,
weren't their defensive player hit a three at within the first 2 minutes, and that was like the high point of their fucking game. Other than that, like nothing happened. They didn't play defense after that. I think the closest they got was within 9 points. But you're the guru, so I'm gonna go with you and choose Tennessee over UCLA. Oh, okay. All right, we're getting close to the end here. Shooting back up, South Region, very beginning. Auburn versus Texas A&M.
the burn.
The burn. Oh, that isn't that what's his name's who's that running back from Auburn? That was really good. Heisman Trophy winner.
Cadillac.
Does Cadillac Williams? No, he was from he was from Texas, wasn't he?
Mm-mm.
No?
I'm pretty
That
sure
was
he's Auburn.
that was Ricky Williams. Ricky
Yeah,
Williams
yeah, that's
was
who you're thinking
yeah.
of.
Cadillac. Cadillac played for Tampa Bay.
Uh, what's his name?
I see him. But was it Bo Jackson? Was Bo Jackson
No.
Auburn?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Yes, that's what it
yeah.
was. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of thinking. All right. We got Iowa State now against Michigan State. So we got the upset king. This is their chance to shine. Iowa State, a number 3 seed against a number 2 Michigan State.
Mhm. So I think Michigan State will win it just because Coach Izzo, he's been there before. He knows what to do. He knows how to coach up the team. So I think he'll take on
I,
beat Iowa State. Beat Iowa State.
I have it written down as Michigan State, and I'm only hesitant because the last time I've picked Michigan State to go this far was when they had Valentine. I thought for some reason I thought this guy was like fucking outstanding. I don't know. I was under the ESPN bullshit, but um, clearly he wasn't because when he got to the NBA and was drafted by the Bulls, he sucked ass. But the dude did not show up, so um, I'm hesitant to pick Michigan State over Iowa State right there, but I did it because we are putting together the perfect fucking bracket.
Yeah. I think next round will be a little bit different. So, but
Okay. Yeah, against well, then let's fucking finish this South region right now. Who do you got? Auburn, Michigan State.
yeah. So Auburn, Michigan
Auburn.
State. That's easy.
Auburn. Then
Janai Broom is a beast. Dude does everything. Dude does everything. He makes his team work. So he advances, helps his team advance.
All right, we'll jump over to the right. We have Duke, Arizona. Okay. Um,
Oh, you know how bad I want to pick against Duke, so that's no
you,
question.
I
But
think I think I
what do
think
you?
you could actually get away with going with Arizona here. I think I think Duke.
They
I
falter?
hate yeah, because there's
Yeah,
always
they
a
kind of get.
stumble with Duke. There's always a stumble, and it gets close, and it,
I like
you
that.
either hit
I
or
like that.
miss.
I like that.
I don't like Duke advancing further in here, even though they're probably going to. But
Okay.
um I want to put down Arizona.
Let's go. I like that
Let's go.
pick, man.
Let's fucking do it, dude. Fuck it. Fuck Duke, right? They're
I'm telling
stupid.
you.
They're
Well,
stupid ass school full of stupid kids. All right.
um,
Up next, we got BYU
yeah.
versus Alabama. The battle of the bees. We
I
got
think Bama. I
fucking,
think Bama. Bama's tough.
yeah,
SEC
high
easy.
scoring motherfuckers are gonna put it on them.
Yeah. Because they're,
Bama, I like
I
it.
think they're the one team that has beat Auburn. So they're
I
legit. They're
can
legit.
it I want to put a pin in something, not put a pin, but I want to put an asterisk in something right here that I think this game right here, this Alabama versus BYU game, I think we should write this down. This game will have the most dunks out of any game in the conference championship, like
Man,
through
that's
all
that's a
games.
great stat. That
The
is a
most
great
dunks
stat.
will be Bama BYU this game here. Yeah, most dunk. I'm gonna put a little circle there and like an arrow. I'm gonna put most dunks, and then I'm gonna draw a donut and like a little coffee cup with some heat coming up the top. All right, so now that we have Arizona going up against Alabama, um, who do you think comes out of the East to get in the Final Four?
Well, I think you convinced me. I think Arizona, just goes on a run. Once they beat Duke, they got all this confidence. You know, um, I I
And then
I
Bama's
do have to disclose. What's that?
tired from all the dunking. Bama's tired from all the
Well,
dunking.
I think they've played up against mediocre competition up to this point, and then when they gets to Arizona, it's like, okay, well, we really got to play a game. But there's a player from Arizona. I think may have mentioned it earlier, but Caleb Love. He's a point guard for
Oh,
Arizona. Really good. Well,
we love
I
Caleb
love the
Love.
kid. Yeah, yeah. So I think it's Caleb that knocks him down.
Right on. All right, so coming up top, we have number 1 seed Auburn and number 4 seed Arizona. We're gonna drop down to the bottom of the bracket and finish up
Which
down
side?
here. Um, we spoke about Florida
West or
Grand
Midwest?
Canyon. Uh, down and to the left, not Midwest. But yeah, I forgot to write in
Okay,
what region that is.
the Florida
Yeah,
bracket.
yeah,
Okay.
the Florida bracket, that one.
Okay.
We went ahead and we put Florida ahead of Grand Canyon as much of a That's our Cinderella pick, I guess, is Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
That's a 13 seed going all the way up against to the Sweet 16. We have them um until they get beat by Florida. So we'll drop down. Next up, we have Texas Tech versus St. John's. A number 3 seed Texas Tech,
I
a
think
number
I
2
think the
seed St.
St.
John's.
Johnny's, man. You're got to go with the Johnnies because they got Rick Pitino, legendary
They're the
coach.
hot fucking team right now.
Yeah.
So hot. Want to touch the hiney. Ooh. That's a Patino quote.
Mhm.
So we got St. John's over Texas Tech, which puts the 2 seed number number 2, fucking shit, I'm gonna say it anyway. St. John's against number 1 Florida.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got?
And that is a really good one. That's going to
I
be.
like
I mean, if it goes the way we planned it, I think it looks great. I think two two conferences, two coaches that players want to win. The only thing is, I think Florida is just on a roll, man. I think they feel that they're not respected. I think they're like Alabama and
But
Auburn has got the respect.
Florida just won the SEC championship.
I know, but overall, I still don't think because see they wanted the number one pick. They didn't get the number one overall pick. They
Auburn
got
did.
a number one
Yeah.
pick, right? Exactly, and they beat. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
why that they got a chip on their shoulder, in my mind. So they beat the Johnnies as much as I want St. Johnny to go
I'm
forever
I'm
more.
I'm gonna put that down because I agree with you that Florida wins this game, but not for the reason that you say. Um, the reason I'm going with is because the route to that game. The route to that game, Florida goes through Norfolk State, OU, Grand Canyon, according to us. And then St. John's has to go through Omaha, which whatever is what it is. But then they have to beat Kansas, and then they have to beat
Yeah.
Texas Tech, and then I think by the time they get to Florida, right there, there's not enough left in the gas tank to match
Yeah.
up against as strong as Florida is. So yeah, we have Florida going over St. John's. So we'll shoot over to the Midwest. Right now we have Houston, the number one, our number one seed,
Uh-huh.
against Clemson, a number five seed. So one and number five. Do we pick a number one to go further
Yeah.
again? I mean,
I, I think
we have a number one in
Clemson
Auburn
just
and
hasn't been
four.
tested though. To me, Clemson hasn't been tested. I mean, they're good. They've shown spurts and they got good players, but they're not Houston.
Yeah,
And
I think you have to go Houston here.
he's just like that coach is great, man. He's worked at several colleges and taken colleges to Sweet 16s and all that. So I just have a lot of faith in him that he's going to motivate his players, and he's
Hell
one of
yeah.
the last of the old schools too. So I think they overcome Clemson, and I was hoping that would make you a little bit happy.
It
So
does. You don't understand. I'm ecstatic. Can't you tell?
yeah,
Like, no, I am. I just have to pee. But no, I'm holding that down. I
ecstatic
hate
and
yeah.
that is the same thing.
See? Exactly. So next up we have Kentucky and Tennessee. And if this and it will happen because we've picked it and we are picking the perfect bracket. This game right here excites me the most out of all these other games that we just spoke about.
Yeah.
This Kentucky game versus Tennessee, I think, is going to be a coaching nightmare. Like, I think I think they're going to have to do whichever team is. There's going to be a lot of coaching changes. There're going to be a lot of different game play changes. You're going to see
Yeah.
strategy change at the half. I think it's going to be close. But I want to know who
But
do you think is going to win?
jeez, man, like you said, it's really a good basketball team. Um, dang. And I think both teams are kind of getting hot at the right time. I just for some reason I got this inkling that Tennessee is just going to overcome. They still got that point guard that does the great things, and I think each game they'll learn something to be able to move forward. And Kentucky just doesn't have that. I mean, they got good players, but I just don't think they'll be able to overcome Tennessee. Um, so I think it'll be Tennessee over Kentucky on that one.
You do realize now that in this southern half of the our bracket, the lower half of the bracket, we have number two going up against number one, and on the other side, number two going up against the number one in Tennessee, Houston, as the matchup that we have to decide. Does Tennessee come off that win against Kentucky and beat
Well,
Houston, who comes off that win against Clemson.
so I mean, I'm not trying to evade the question, but I'm curious of is what's your opinion? Because I know you watched some of these games, and I know you watched Tennessee, versus Florida, so you saw somehow their players played, and I've watched Houston and Tennessee, so I'm just curious before I make a selection. What
I
is your opinion, or before we make a selection?
When I look at Houston and Tennessee, I look at which one is has more of a chance to be a bust, and that's how I look at it. Like it sucks, but that's the way I see it because Houston has been a number one seed in the past and lost early. Tennessee has had some bad losses this year and looked
Mhm.
horrible against Florida tonight. And that's that. And I know I keep on bringing it up because that's the last fucking game they played. So that's what they like. I don't want to look up a month ago, at how well they played against so and so. I want to see how well they played tonight, and they did not play well.
Yeah.
So I don't like Tennessee in this, but
Okay.
also I can't. I think what do we got? We got up top. We got Auburn, Arizona, Florida. Oh God, they just
Well, so
conference wise, I want to pick Houston,
uh,
but
okay.
you know, you understand like
Yeah.
based off conference because I mean we already have Auburn number one seed in there. We got Arizona, whatever. But then we got Florida.
Mm.
And then it's just if we put Tennessee in there, it's just but
Well,
it feels right, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel right? Like that's the way it's gonna be so that the SEC people
I think
can
so because in
team
past
talking
years, I think it's been rare that it's been all four one seeds go to the finals, right?
very.
And
Yeah.
even last year, it
Unless it's
was
women's fucking college
well,
basketball.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Women's college basketball, you can pretty much just pick the higher seed. That's why
so
there's no money in a
last
perfect bracket there.
yeah. Last year it was number one UConn that went to the Final Four. Number four Alabama. Number 11 NC State with their crazy run, and then
Yeah.
number one Purdue with that big guy. I'm not sure if you knew that Edie. Yeah, so that was kind
Edie,
of
Edie, Edie, Edie.
so
Heidi,
they. I
Heidi,
mean,
Heidi hos. Yeah.
it
Edie the
wasn't
Moocher.
all four number ones. So I do think some will get knocked off for this tournament, and like you said, I don't know. I think Houston does have the better squad, the better coaching. I think they will move on. I know you're reluctant to maybe move on that number one
When was
seed.
when was the last time we saw number two in the final four?
Number two?
There's usually a number one, there's like a four or a three, a two, right? Like who does number two work for? I don't know. It probably was last year, but I was just
It wasn't. It wasn't.
oh,
No,
but
no.
I just started thinking of that. Like, when was the last time I've seen a number two in the final four? It's it's been a couple
It's
years,
it's been a
I
while.
believe.
I
Yeah,
think it's been a couple years at least.
and Tennessee's a two seed.
It hasn't been
So
the last 2 years, that's for sure. Um,
do I go ahead and put down?
actually, it was 2021, 2021, or excuse me, 2021, 2022 season.
Okay, not too
So
long ago.
about
Not too long.
yeah,
Yeah,
not too far off, but it was is Duke and Villanova made the Final Four as a number
was
two seed.
what Duke was the number two or
So
Villanova?
Duke on the left side played Duke was number two. North Carolina was number
Okay,
eight. North Carolina moved on,
of
and
course.
then
Why you bring?
Villanova was number two. Kansas was number one, and Kansas moved on, and then Kansas beat North Carolina in the final, and that was
Ouch.
2021, 2022. So
Okay.
that looks like it was the last time a two seed has, well, actually two seeds had made the
Toot
playoffs or the
toot.
final four.
Tutus. It's been a while since I've worn a tutu. So, so do we go with number one seed Houston to face
Yeah,
the number one seed
I
Florida?
I just like that coach, man. I mean, he's been
Okay.
around. He knows what's going on. So yeah,
Hell yeah. So right now we have our final four from this bracket as Auburn, Arizona, Florida, and Houston. And we're gonna end it right there, and we're gonna set up another time to do. I want us to do a three-part series on this March Madness.
yeah,
Probably do an Elite Eight episode, and then either a finals or right after the finals.
yeah. Tell Jimmy he needs to get on. We need his input,
We
and
do.
plus we need to know what he feels about Akron.
You got it, brother.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man. Love you.
Thank you, brother. Love ya.
Bye.